maintained 3/4 of its out hot.
Both teams 5-1, Evan. Lynchburg's dealing with some injuries already this season. Not uncommon in a basketball year. I still think Allison Nichols loves where her ball club is at. She also said before the game, hey, we're going to get a stiff test tonight from Hollins.
No doubt about it. And as we take a look at the team stats coming into this one, you're going to see the indications of why this Hollins team is playing at a very high rate to start this season. When you look at the points per game, obviously a little bit lower than Lynchburg at this point of the year, but it feels like every opponent that they are facing, they're just continuing to dominate their style of play, and that's often revolving around their size down low.
Yeah, Lynchburg's been great in the paint. I think 30-plus paint points in the win on Sunday against Meredith. Hollins really with a great paint presence as well. I think that's going to be one of our great battles tonight is box to box, post to post. Who dominates that area, Evan? Yes, we're going to get some three-pointers in the mix. I feel sure about that.
The familiar faces for Lynchburg as they get set for this one. Player watch, Brooke Kaysen. She pads every single category on the stat sheet.
She always does what the team requires of her. Nothing more, nothing less. She really doesn't force a lot of shots, doesn't force passes. She makes the right pass. Stingy defender as well. Brooke Kaysen. She's glue guy. You just say, oh, they're on the bench and they're a vibes kind of a guy. Brooke Kaysen is obviously an impact player on the court, but she does seem to hold things together.
She also leads the team in minutes, 31 per game. That's not a new stat. That has been around for the last few seasons here in the Hive. On the other side, it's Zaria Holden, one of the returners for this Hollins team that boasts several, but her production has really gone up this season.
Yeah, she had an 0 for 7 from the field game against William Peace, 1 for 10 from the field against Agnes Scott. So she runs a little bit hot and cold. I gave you the cold. The hot is she scored 28 points as a season high this year. If you're Lynchburg, you have to try to have Holden have a cold night tonight. How can you keep her in the defrosting zone rather than heating up? She's got double figures in 4 out of 6 this season.
Might have to head to the ice box because obviously we have seen several players play at their best in Turner Gymnasium, but you hope it's on the Lynchburg side of things for this ODAC contest. And Kyle, I want to ask you one more question. This Lynchburg team has had several performers. You can look at Audra Petty, who has had double-digit scoring every single game. They're still trying to figure this system out, even with Bree Spainhour in the starting lineup again. What's the key to making sure that they continue meshing at this stage of the season?
Well, I think lean on those proven commodities and then just add a dash of the new faces. Don't rely on those first years and maybe even some of those sophomores to do too much of the heavy lifting. Let them just sprinkle something in here and there, but rely on folks like Audra Petty, who is a sophomore, but I think we can call her a proven commodity at this point. But rely on your Audra Pettys, your Brooke Kaysens, your Bree Spainhours. Lean on them for a lot in a game like this and see if you can get a contribution or two from one of those younger players.
So much to discover. Two teams right in the middle of action in the ODAC preseason poll. They'll see who is the upper hand in this one. Lynchburg taking on Hollins. On the other side, we'll have tip and starting lineups.
in a game like this. Could be wrong, but
of that. Forwards, Lynchburg gets a key piece back with Bree Spainhour, and Hollins, of course, all of their returners from last year have really contributed well.
Hollins is 5-1, coached by Emily Dunton in her 8th season. Fun fact, she played a couple different places as a player and actually played for Allison Nichols when Coach Nichols was coaching down the street at Randolph. More on that as we go through, but the starters for Hollins, number 0, Erin Allen. She's a junior forward from Willow Spring, North Carolina. Number 1, Zaria Holden was our player to watch. She's a junior from Madison, Alabama. Jacora Russell, first year from Blakely, Georgia, will start. And you've also got Nolani Carter, a senior guard, 5'8", from Easley, South Carolina. It'll be Sarah Morales rounding out the starting lineup. Your note there?
You did, but I got one more for you. She's shot the first 6 games of this year, and the point being as she has transitioned into a power forward role this year. They're looking for her contributions down low, and it's really delivered early.
Lynchburg's starting lineup looks like this. Sophomore guard, number 3, Madison Hoffman from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It'll be Selah Parker, another sophomore, back in the starting lineup. And then the 3 heavy lifters that we mentioned. Sophomore Audra Petty, 5'9" guard from Randleman, North Carolina. Senior guard Brooke Kaysen from Fishersville, Virginia. And number 25, Bree Spainhour, senior forward from King, North Carolina. Lynchburg is clad in the home whites. Hollins in the road black and green. We're at center circle. Let's play some ODAC basketball. Lynchburg won the tip and then lost it. Officials for tonight are Brian Wallace, Dalen Acevedo, Ehlers, and Charles Huff. I want to say in the striped shirts, but they don't even wear the striped shirts anymore. It's like a gray and black.
Getting away from the traditional, right?
A couple early turnovers for each ball club. I don't know how much you count Lynchburg's turnover against them because it did come off the jump ball, and Lynchburg is a team where they'll try to script something off that jump ball. Off to Audra Petty. Lynchburg will run that handoff series on the wing. Offense when they're facing a player-to-player defense. Backdoor cut from Selah Parker, but Hoffman couldn't offload in time. Bree Spainhour is going to muscle her way in and score with the left hand. One of the best with either hand around the hoop, Evan.
And that's one of those veteran moves. She starts the post up, but it's from beyond the perimeter, and that's just her skill as a player, doing it all over the court.
Lengthy possession there for Lynchburg as well. Coach Allison Nichols, in her 5th season, mentioned we've been shooting early in the clock a bit more than I want. Early offense is fine, but not all the time. There's a bucket good for Hollins, and we're now tied 2 apiece.
Well, and it's interesting that Lynchburg started 1 for 12 from three-point land last time out, because maybe that forces you to diversify your scoring in a game like this.
Selah Parker to the rack, got fouled, and she'll get 2 shots for her troubles. There's Selah Parker and what she can do. Very bouncy player, speed defensively and offensively. Foul was on Zaria Holden. Her first, team's first. We'll keep an eye on that because that's one way that you could negate or maybe limit a player like Holden if she gets in foul trouble.
Well, and you do feel like Lynchburg's depth is going to be an advantage against almost anybody in the conference. You look at the number of Hornets on that bench. Foul trouble will help them out if they can get their opponents in difficult spots, and we saw that against Meredith last time out.
Yeah, Lynchburg really good from the charity line against Meredith on Sunday, 11 for 13. That bodes well. And you mentioned the three-point shooting started cold. It didn't really get much better at 5 for 30 for the Hornets on Sunday. But back to those paint points and everything they did in there. 40 paint points. I undersold them a bit in the open. Spot up 3 coming from Russell. No good. Weak side rebound by Petty. She looks around, and now she'll start the break herself with 8:20 left to play in quarter number 1.
Saw Lynchburg with that zone defense on the other side, too. Maybe forcing Hollins to try and go to that three-point shot.
Petty wants to spot up. Too strong. There's Brooke Kaysen. Fought for the rebound, but couldn't reel it in. Lynchburg by 2. We saw a taste of what Kaysen can do there. I mean, she's not flashy, but just always seems to go to the right places.
And sometimes a player on the roster like that's going to be one of your most valuable pieces. You see the highlights, you see all the really fancy plays, but you do need those players in the lineup that just have consistency.
Lynchburg has opened up in their person-to-person or man-to-man defense, if you will. Coach Nichols has said we've got some zone options we might toy with. Holden going to try to get to the edge of the backboard, overshot the mark. Rebounded by guess who? Brooke Kaysen. She'll push it up to Madison Hoffman. Traveling violation. And there was, I think Hoffman wanted to hand it off to Petty, and Petty thought, well, this is a good time for the backdoor cut. Back to that handoff exchange that Lynchburg likes to run. It can backfire on you.
And obviously that will take time. You're building chemistry as Hoffman's in her first season with Lynchburg, but lucky for those two, they have a lot of time to nail it down.
Russell to the rim. Shot was partially blocked by Bree Spainauer. Spainauer can be such a paint protector and a rim protector. You saw it there. There's the backdoor cut. Parker, oh, couldn't get the roll off the window. You saw how that handoff sequence can work, though. Parker just can't cash in.
Those will hurt you as a coaching staff, too, wanting those gimmies down low.
Russell with muscle, no good. Parker with the rebound, and she'll run the break down the left alleyway. Just over 7 to play in quarter number 1. Fairly pedestrian start, but you can change that now as Audra Petty spotting up from the right wing.
A little bit of firepower from beyond the perimeter, and that is what she has developed so well in this offseason. You're seeing that three-point percentage just continue to climb, and now at 38%.
Double figures in every game this season. And if you go back to last year, first year, it's 16 out of 30. She scored 10 or more. Very impressive. Impressive spot-up shot goes in for Jakora Russell. Russell had 6 points on Saturday, but in 10 minutes. Only played 10 minutes against William Peace. The high this year is 13 for Russell. She's got a silky jump shot.
You think about some of those players that can really rough it up too. Russell, multiple steals in 4 games this year, and so obviously you talk about foul trouble being one thing earlier, but those defensive weapons are who you need on the court at all times.
One sub in a piece for each ball club. It's Gracie Hufford for Hollins, and the 3-ball goes, and we're tied up just like that, 7-7.
Well, Gracie Hufford, a transfer from USC Aiken, as Spainauer couldn't get it to go through the cylinder. You know, I really think about transfers as adding a piece to your roster. You don't necessarily want to have a sustainable roster based on just who you bring in, and Hufford has really complemented this staff well. She's not starting games, but she played in 26 last year, averaging 7 and 9. I mean, that's what you want to see early.
Lynchburg's going to get the ball back because of a traveling violation. Here's Ashley Vandergrift, one of those subs that checked in. Taylor Brown's also come in the game for Lynchburg as well. They join Spainauer, Parker, and Kaysen. 5 on the timer now. Vandergrift will let it fly, and she nails it from the left side. Ashley Vandergrift with 3 balls. The clock's winding down. Morales, right elbow, jumper, nope. She'll get her own rebound off one bounce. Hollins looks to rebuild, but they'll fire early. Scrum in the middle for it. I think Brooke Kaysen's gonna win a foul, basically.
Kyle, Lynchburg wants to run and gun, and that's not a secret to any team that they face, but offensive rebounds will kill that if you allow teams to stay on their offensive side of the floor. So Hornets going to try to polish that early in this game.
Full court pressure from Hollins. One of the rare teams that we see that will pick a team up basket to basket, run some full court press stuff. Emily Dutton's got a lot of different options in her defensive bag, and they're pretty good, holding teams to 52.8 points per game this year. Spainauer in trouble, sends it in the corner to Brooke Kaysen. Baseline drive, not there. Stingy defense by Hollins, and it was a turnover by Brooke Kaysen. No, a timeout. Brooke Kaysen called the timeout. Hey, let's stay here. Lynchburg by 3, 5:02 left to play. This will turn into that media timeout here in quarter number 1. Early impressions, Evan, I think it's unfolding a bit like we thought it might.
I think so too, and this score line isn't necessarily going to sway one way or another if it's, as we predicted, a very tight game early. I think you're seeing these styles come alive too, right? This Hollins team, very patient and methodical. They have been out-rebounding opponents by 8 on average this season, and so that stat will certainly climb. Lynchburg's just got to find a way to stay physical throughout this one, and I think they have really left their handprint early that they're going to be aggressive.
Last year, Hollins held opponents to under 60 11 times. So again, back to the defensive effort and the commitment that Emily Dunton has to defense. She was a stingy defender in her day, but I don't want to undersell her offensive exploits as well, because she's got some records in the state of Virginia as far as what Coach Dunton did as a player. And I mentioned she did play for Allison Nichols. The other tie-in is they both played at Brookville High School for the legendary coach Warner Dyke. I called this the Warner Dyke Bowl. I don't know if he upgraded his Flow subscription or not, but hopefully Coach Dyke is watching with pride as 2 of his former pupils are leading college teams, and they're playing at a very high level, as we said.
No
both
doubt.
Squads come in at 5-1.
Well, and Coach Dunton was pretty good during her days as a B as well. 3rd in the VHSL for career assist. I mean, you think about those stats at the top of the table. You got your points, and obviously rebounds an important one, but assists, just helping your teammates out. You got to have a good team with you if you're going to get that stat climbing, and Brookville's always had a very solid program.
Just down the road on Timberlake Road, we're on Lakeside Drive here in the Hill City of Lynchburg. Evan and Kyle hanging out with you, and we do have a chat at the scorer's table. This has gone beyond the media timeout. It looks like Brian Wallace, the head referee, is just double checking something. Could be on a replay of something.
And that's new from the last few seasons. We've seen the ODAC start implementing that video review, and obviously I think it just goes along with the technological advances you've had. You even have it here in Turner Gymnasium. The light's a little bit different during the fall season. You can actually dim the bleacher lights. Obviously, we saw that some for the volleyball team that was very solid through that fall.
Yeah, what a fun ride for them. And fall sports for Lynchburg was really incredible. What the winning percentage overall was?
78?
78%, yeah.
I don't know if I can do 78% with anything. That's consistency.
Certainly not from the free throw line.
That's right.
Let's go back to basketball. What do you think? What do you think they could be looking at? I mean, we didn't have like a lot of times it'll be, let's check and see if a foul could be a flagrant. Let's see what the shot clock was. It could be the shot clock, though, actually. When did that timeout come? Potentially might be something they're looking at. I'm just thinking about ideas of what they could be discussing.
Well, it looks like they are pointing numbers, so either shot clock related or foul related. But like you said, I don't think we saw anything out of the ordinary. And Kaysen was trapped in that corner, but I don't think you saw a 5-second violation. We'll see what they go with, but Hornets basketball to start.
Yeah, sideline inbound for Lynchburg. They lead by 3. They have 6 seconds on the shot clock for this possession. Vandergrift scored late in the clock on her last possession. She'll try again from left of center. That was an air ball, and now it's going to end up being Lynchburg's ball. Tough spot there on the rebound for Gracie Hufford. She could have let it go, but tried to recapture and was stepping on the line. Coach Emily Dunton saying, well, shouldn't it have been a shot clock violation anyway? They're going to say 1 second on the shot clock for Lynchburg. 1 second. So if you got a dunker, you throw it to the front of the rim. Taylor Brown's in there. Maybe still throw it to the front of the rim, try to get her to tip it in. No, Lynchburg will not get it off in time. That is a violation. And Hollins will finally take over after what turned into about a 2-minute possession.
That's right.
Timeout.
4th and inches. But tell you what, I mean, that's just one of those cases where Taylor Brown, I don't think she knew the shot clock was down that low. But obviously, you know, every possession in this game going to matter so much more.
Morales driving through the lane. Can't cash in. Got her own rebound again, though. Another offensive board for Hollins. Won't lead to points, though, as Bree Spainhour rips it out of the air. Lynchburg on the move in the front court left in the home whites. Vandergrift looking around in a spot of bother. Nearly lost the ball. Fakes the corner 3. Floater. Nope. Ashley Vandergrift fighting for home rebound. She's not going to get it. Calling on the floor foul, though. This ball's going to stay with Lynchburg.
Well, it's a tricky spot for Vandergrift, too, because when you're trying to charge from that short corner, you either got to get your feet down or you got to float it sometimes off one leg. And I think she did well just to get that ball up and get right into the middle of the scram.
you hear from so many players now, they'd rather drive from the corner because you know where all the help is coming from.
Absolutely.
You talk about when you drive from the top of the key, the help's going to come from both sides. Vandergrift will pop free on the inbound, wide open, and she laces it. 2 3-pointers for Ashley Vandergrift. Hard-working possession, too, Evan, because she got it back basically on her own miss.
And that's just a trademark Vandergrift possession, right? Getting the three, continuing to move. We've seen games in this gym where she has shot the lights out. Early indications that she's right on point.
Only played 5 minutes on Sunday against Meredith. 3-pointer coming from Hollins. Brick there, but another offensive rebound for the visitors. They have done well in that category. Ariana Gutierrez in the game and driving. Got it back for a 3-point try of her own. The triple will go. Both squads have struck from deep. We thought the game would be won in the paint, but maybe it will be won from beyond the arc. Steal here. Wild fling to the basket will result in free throws.
That's a frustrating possession for Kaysen, too, who's charged with the personal because she passes the ball away, and it just looked like Sayla Parker wasn't ready for it, then having to go and waste that foul down under the bucket. But you still like what you're seeing so far from 24 and White.
It's the first-year Abby Kingery on the free throw line. Her team down by 3, 3:28 left to play. And not a cop-out. But these Hollins numbers are tough to see because it's just a little bit of a yellow around the number, if you can see that, fans. And then of course, in women's basketball, you do get the ponytail sometimes obscuring it. But no more excuses.
That's right.
We got to get it right.
Cool colors, just tough for us.
Kingery sinks both. Lynchburg by 1. Great first quarter so far. High-low, they lob downstairs to Petty. She's been on the bench for much of this first quarter. They'll call it 3-second violation. There's a rare call. But unfortunately, a turnover for Lynchburg.
And that's really one of those calls where if you see it now, it almost has to be extraordinarily long because they're not going to just call those ordinary ones. And Petty, I think, was already camped out right in that spot.
Missy Hazard in the ball game for Hollins. Emily Dunton has really gone to her bench. The ball nearly got away from Taylor Brown, but she recaptures in time for a Lynchburg possession.
Well, Hazard has fired 38 threes. The rest of the team is at 11. So you can see that difference. But Sayla Parker, one of the crashers for Lynchburg, getting 2 to the tally.
Nice feed from Bree Spainhour as well. Lynchburg by 3, defending the basket to our right with 2 subs of their own ready to check into the ball game. Post play here. Hazard turnaround hook, no good. Taylor Brown's going to capture another one. Great job by TB. Didn't get the clean catch, but she's sticking with it, and her size is a difference maker as well at 6'2". Petty going to try to circle the defense. Now spinning, trapped in a no-person's land at the mid-post. Ashley Vandergrift will rebuild the offense. 10 on the timer here with 2:05 left to play in quarter 1. Now Vandergrift has picked up that dribble. Feeds to Taylor Brown. Parker has it. 2 on the clock. It's on the way. They did beat the shot clock, but the bucket no good.
Well, Parker did well just to create space to get that shot off with the shot clock going down.
Hazard right of center. Looks around. Back to the low post entry. Now the kick out 3 on the way, and that one's good. We are tied up 15 apiece. Great offensive possession for Hollins. They tried low post and then got it back out to the 3-point line for the triple.
How open has Gutierrez been as well? That's the second time that cross-court pass has worked.
5'10" senior Ariana Gutierrez, and you can feel the defensive intensity picking up. Coach Emily Dunton was playing defense on that sideline herself. Spainhour open 3 in and out. Rebound. Look at Coach Dunton's activity down there. It's fun to watch.
The player never leaves the coach. I promise you that.
That is exactly right. Ariana Gutierrez from San Antonio, Texas, likes Sarah Morales for Hollins. They did not go to the same high school, though, at least not listed on the roster anyway. But in San Antonio is a big place. It's completely logical that they might not have known each other, actually.
That's right. And, you know, if it's not a travel team or something like that, that would be a very interesting coincidence. They both ended up right here in Virginia.
Yeah, it feels like there's got to be a connection. Petty lost the ball. Left-hand dribble. Less than 60 to play. Hollins wanted an offensive foul. Morales will get a piece of the shot anyway. A little modicum of payback there for Sarah Morales. Pass too high, and this will lead to a Hollins turnover.
You know, I think that's just a common example of Hollins wanting to speed things up, but that's Lynchburg's bread and butter, and they can defend that just as well as they attack. You've got to be careful if you're the Hollins offense to handle possession well.
I agree with you. I mean, Lynchburg wants to play up-tempo, so there is a danger in fighting fire with fire. Oh, nearly a pickpocket steal, but it will be a foul. 39.6 seconds left. The foul was on Kennedy Leggett, 5'7", first year from High Point, North Carolina.
For as physical as this one has gotten, only 5 combined fouls so far. I think it's been a pretty clean game.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the officials have done a good job about, setting a baseline of what they're going to allow and not allow. Three-pointer on the way, and that one is good from Allie Schaefer back in the ball game. We saw her have a bust-out performance, scored her first points of the season on Sunday. She's only played in 3 games total now, but already proving to be an impact player.
You mentioned that Vandergrift only had 5 minutes. That's partly because Schaefer was on fire that last time out.
It was 9 on Sunday. 3-ball here, couldn't convert, contested from the right low block. Petty had the ball momentarily, but she was on the baseline. 7.6 seconds left for Hollins. Plenty of time to run something. No need to really rush it into the front court in this scenario. Hollins will break the timeline. Now down to 2. Got to go. Great individual defense from Brooke Kaysen. There's another one for Brooke Kaysen. It's going to go down as just a steal, but feels like much more than that at the end of the quarter.
No doubt. Styling and Wilder getting after the ball in those big spots. You know the clock's winding down. You got to be all over it. That's exactly what Kaysen does to end the quarter.
It's a key Old Dominion Athletic Conference battle in early December. Lynchburg 18, Hollins 15. We're back in a moment. In the book, she was at Bridgewater, player in the 8. Coached at Randolph, back home. She did, of course, go to just down the road, and she said, this really does feel like home. Loved my time at those other places, but this feels like home.
No doubt. And, I mean, the Hill City is special because you have a high number of colleges right in the area. You got Randolph down the street, Liberty at the D1 level. You can go on into Sweetbriar, Virginia University, Lynchburg. So what Coach Nichols has established here is pretty special, right? This is that season, the 5th year. You've got entirely your own roster, and I think we're seeing it be a big benefit so far in the overall record. 5-1 and a chance to go 6-1 for the first time since the 2017-2018 season.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of history here, and Coach Nichols, of course, would downplay that. She would say, well, we still got a lot of work to do, and that is true. It's still early December, but always nice to get off to a fast start. For the green and gold, it hasn't been a bad start in quarter 1, Evan, and I had a minor panic attack because, Hollins does not have an official nickname. And I thought I knew that, but then I asked you in between quarters, I was like, hey, what's Hollins' nickname? And you reminded me where there isn't an official one, but
That's
we can
right.
use the green and gold.
Well, and they aren't represented in every single varsity sport either, so you only see them a limited number of times.
First three-pointer, no good. There's a rebound by Taylor Brown. No, not Taylor Brown, pardon me. Is that Jacqueline Jacobasi in the ballgame?
Yes, number 10 in white, freshman who has really come in and even gotten a few starts. You've seen Coach Nichols wrap around into different bigs. I can work this time.
Turnover there might lead to points. Holden not going to get it over Jakubasi. Great recovery there. Brooke Kaysen kind of stalled the drive. There's Brooke Kaysen again. She won't get a stat for that. But Jakubasi, great recovery. Allie Schaefer, left corner three, no good.
Starting to turn into more of a track meet here. Seeing both teams going back and forth.
Russell wants to trigger the three. That won't fall. Morales, tough rebound. Second chance try. Also no good, but going to the free throw line now to shoot two. Well, the first 10 minutes were just really good basketball. In the second quarter, shaping up to be the same way. I say really good, fun to watch, Evan. I'm not sure if either coach is necessarily going to agree when I say it was really good. That's Aaron Allen, number 0, on the free throw line here for Hollins.
Tell you what, I mean, these games where you know you're not going to have any space to breathe, you know, that's ODAC play in the nutshell, and it's great to get it in December because this Lynchburg team only has 3 games in December until going into the new year.
I'll tell you this, as Lynchburg gets another rebound. Hornets have 8 turnovers, so yeah, Coach Allison Nichols is not going to agree with that being as part of the great basketball equation. And Lynchburg does hold on to a 2-0 lead. Petty in a lot of trouble. Morales can really guard you all the way out to the three-point line. She's a stingy defender. There is a foul as Kayla Terry will walk to the far sideline right and bounce the ball to the referee.
You think Hollins got the scouting report? Because you're seeing how well they're defending the perimeter right now. Lynchburg is having to think even more about those backdoor cuts, not even getting the open shot.
Lynchburg still 50% from 3, though, at 4 of 8. Foul was on Kennedy Leggett, her second. It's 2 on number 22. Spin move from Petty, lost the handle though. Again, Morales, I think, should get a lot of credit for her tough defense. Scramble for the ball, held ball. The arrow favors Lynchburg.
You know, we talked about it in that Meredith game. It almost feels like Lynchburg's substitution patterns. It's like hockey line shifts. You know, you're constantly going in and out. And so in a game like this, where it's very scrappy, you can't afford to be on the floor and not dive in after those balls because you know you have those reinforcements right behind you.
Speaking of reinforcements, Selah Parker and Bree Spainauer, 2 starters coming back in the game for Lynchburg. And I'm just looking at Sarah Morales on the stat sheet here. 15 steals, but only 1 block. That's almost a little bit surprising right there. You know, the fun one is to combine those, and you call them stocks, steals and blocks. And Lynchburg got a lot, 10 blocks, 10 steals on Sunday in the win there. But individually, you know, if you're a player that has a lot of stocks, that means you can guard anybody, anywhere, anytime.
And defense was a big emphasis from Coach Nichols coming out of that game. She said, you know what, we have to defend better against Hollins, a team that's very similar, brought a lot of people back. And, you know, to get 17 points off turnovers against Meredith was great. You also recognize there were a lot of easy looks given up in the paint.
Lynchburg had an interesting breaking point, a demarcation line, if you will, last year on defense. Hold that thought as Bree Spainauer. It probably felt a little bit easy for her on the inbound play. Just a counterclockwise spin into the right hand, and that gives Lynchburg a 4-point lead.
Isn't it so easy when she gets under the bucket because she has mastered the footwork and to get to the right spot?
You and I talked about footwork a lot when we worked together when you watch Bree Spainauer. All got bopped out of bounds. Will stay with Lynchburg. So Hollins a chance to set up that full court pressure, which they've done from time to time. See Parker trying to get free. Instead, it's Brooke Kaysen. She'll feed it right back to the inbounder, Bree Spainauer.
That's going to be a threat, too, because you're seeing them be really tight with the ball handlers, but you got to stay on Spainauer. Took a rough tumble to the floor.
One referee just called it out of bounds, but the other official did call it a foul. So this will send Bree Spainauer to the line left. Lynchburg 2 for 2 currently from the charity stripe.
You know, how anxious are you as a Lynchburg fan? You know, Bree Spainauer's rehabbing from that ACL injury, so sometimes the spills like that, you got to have a second hesitation with, but you also see she's moving so well for somebody who just got back to games on November 18th, and she's proving she hasn't missed a beat.
Really hasn't. I mean, that was a one-woman fast break there as she got the ball back after the inbound and then just took it right to the rack. Cashes in from the charity line. This match is the biggest lead of the evening for Lynchburg. Let me give you the fun stat about Lynchburg last year. When giving up more than 58 points, Evan, they were 0-13. When they held opponents to under 58, they were 10-1. So sometimes there's always going to be a number like that for most teams, but interesting that it was at 58, and interesting that it showed that, you know, yes, Lynchburg can score, but they got to play some defense. They've got to really keep teams in check. And 58 was the number last year.
Well, ironically, Hollins scored 54 against them. Lynchburg put up 61. Goes right to your point, and that's just one of those games. It comes down to fourth quarters. Who can finish?
There's a finish right there from three. Lynchburg heating up a fifth three-pointer of the evening. Brooke Kaysen that time from distance.
See that confidence, too. Didn't really hesitate even a few feet behind the line.
Morales. That'll rattle home. Boy, that was big for Hollins. They hadn't scored in a while, and you just feel like if that one doesn't go in and all of a sudden you don't get a stop, you're not exactly in dire straits, but the straits wouldn't be awesome. Here comes Allie Schaefer for three. No good, off the mark. Hornets will battle for the rebound, but can't come up with it. Now Hollins a chance to get right back in the ball game with 6:38 left. Holden to the rack, and she will score. To try to turn the pain into some payment here. Yeah, just like that, Hollins could be now, Evan.
That's just impressive. It goes back to this coaching staff as well. Look at how Holden just keeps it on that one arm, allowing that off arm to work as well. Lynchburg had put up a 7-0 run in just about 100 seconds. Hollins answering right back.
This is fan-friendly right here. Again, I said it was maybe not great for the coaches, but right now I think the fans are seeing why we were so keyed up for this one. Free throw does not go, so it's a 4-point deficit for the green and gold. Gals in white back on the attack. There's the backdoor cut. Parker to Schaefer. Can't get it in there. Jacobasi no good. Good stand there by Hollins. You can tell the green and gold, they want to dribble drive and get the rack attack first, and then the rest of the offense comes after that. Morales no good. Here's Gutierrez. She'll put it on the floor and Sky. Can't get the roll.
Well, that penetration starting to become a theme for Hollins, and I think right now in the huddle for Coach Nichols, she's going to have to recognize, hey, let's lock down in that position, force them to shoot outside.
I think the Hornets are doing well to really clog up the lane and help out on some of those dribble penetrations. The bounce pass downstairs. Jacobasi got stuffed, and it will be a held ball, and the arrow still pointing with the Hornets.
You think about all the stats that could have made a difference in this one. I don't think anybody had 8 on the boards, and so that's really swung the Hornets' way. More than just 4 points, and that's why you're in the final 6 minutes of the second quarter. It's got to be everybody going forward, hustling, and that transition style we're used to.
Interesting you mentioned rebounding. Hollins actually out-rebounded Lynchburg last year in that Hornets win. And that was a game that featured 7 ties, 8 lead changes. Lynchburg is the only team that has led in this one. We have had 3 ties, though. Three-pointer no good. Gutierrez got her own rebound again. Fadeaway jumper on the mark. Pretty impressive by number 20, Gracie Hufford. Rebounding proving to be in the spotlight again. That time for Hollins on the offensive side.
You have some versatile to shoot because of rebounds, and that has just been a committee effort.
Moves well for a 6'3". In addition to that, no three-pointers attempted. That could be the next step for Hufford. Can she step out and maybe sling it from long range from time to time? Hornets on the inbound. They've been pretty successful in these inbound plays. Ashley Vandergrift has a successful made 3 on the inbound, but not that time there. Hollins with a chance to run and tie or take the lead this possession. Ooh, they've nearly thrown it into the front lobby, and Lynchburg has the ball, but looks like Alex Nichols wants to take time. We'll step aside this time as well. 4:58 remains in half number 1. Lynchburg by 2 on LHSN and Flow College.
the block.
Sayla Parker is not Lynchburg to inbound. Yeah, Hornets saw that 9-point lead get stripped down to 2. I mean, that'll make you burn a timeout. There's an offensive foul on Lynchburg. I think they got Bree Spainhour with a little too much contact on the screen. It's Bree Spainhour's first, Lynchburg's third this quarter. Hollins has 4 fouls. No, pardon me, Hollins has 3 as well, I beg your pardon. 25-23, so the green and gold can once again tie or perhaps take the lead on this possession. Low post entry. Shot up by Hufford, off the mark. Taylor Brown in there with another rebound. Boy, TB's been good on the glass tonight. Looks like her 4th total rebound. Spainhour with some housekeeping in the left corner. Tried to lob it to Taylor Brown, no good. But Hollins is going to give the basketball right back at a turnover.
You know, it's really a blessing and a curse having Spainhour and Taylor Brown out there at the same time, because Lynchburg is not used to having that type of size on the floor. You just got to recognize, yes, you've got their perimeter skills, but also make sure somebody is down low. Just couldn't get the pass that time.
I think that tells you there's an inbound play that went awry for Lynchburg. Turnover, and it might lead to points. Yes, it will. We are tied up again as Hollins with the strip takeaway. Number 11, Nolani Carter. She's come off the bench 3 times this year, but was in the starting lineup for this one, and you're seeing why. Defense turns into offense. Kaysen, little show and go on the fake 3. She'll navigate through, kicks it to Petty. She got it. Lynchburg snatching that lead right back.
Think about the fundamentals. Keep your feet set, allow your stroke to do the work, and that is where Petty has been so dominant this year, just getting behind the perimeter and trusting her ability.
Big time there from Audra Petty. 6 points on 2 made threes. Couple turnovers for Petty. Downstairs it goes again to Hufford. Boy, she's really putting in some work. Basket good there, and now Hollins is within 1. Hornets not wasting any time. Petty not wasting any time. And how about a little Wednesday triple play for Audra Petty. 3 made 3-pointers. It's Lynchburg by 4.
That's just precision, and I think Lynchburg can get in a 3-point battle against anybody. We'll see if it's sustainable.
7 for 13 from beyond the long line tonight. Good ball movement by Hollins. Pop passing. Can't get the first one to go. Brooke Kaysen will take the controls for Lynchburg. Yeah, this is a Lynchburg team that, again, just on Sunday was 5 for 30 from 3-point range. Tonight, 7 for 13. And that's just so far. We've still got 2:30 left to play in period number 2. Set piece coming for Bree Spainhour. Catches. Oh, can't convert from the right side. Scramble for this basketball. Lynchburg's got another one. Hollins has had several on this left baseline here, Evan, that either they just sort of fumbled or because of the pressure from Lynchburg, it allowed the Hornets to get the ball back.
Well, you see another look at some of these threes. You know, when they're made, you don't have to worry about that. But I think the product of that baseline play is missed rebounds. You're seeing those scrambles, and Lynchburg has to be a little more physical if they want to get those 50-50s.
Petty, pass fake. She'll use the screen. Lane line left. Offensive foul. Offensive foul. Not on Audra Petty, though. Or was it? No, it's on Hollins. I beg your pardon. Official kind of signaled in the other direction, and it threw me a little bit. I think it's thrown Hollins a little bit as well. Oh, it's Hollins' ball.
I think Kyle Haney was the only educated one at the gym.
Well, it was confusing. They're going to call that an offensive foul on Audra Petty, by the way. Okay, yeah, so the official signal was actually perfectly clear. Audra Petty just couldn't believe it. She walked to the charity line like she was going to shoot. Backdoor cut there. Would have been a circus-style finish, but Hollins again, another second chance. Rebounding solid right now for the green and gold.
Well, even though Lynchburg has that rebounding margin heading their way, offensive rebounds now knotted up at 8 apiece, or 7 apiece rather, and so you see that that's been a benefit for them all season. Shows up on the stat sheet.
Well, that's what I said. Hollins solid rebounding. Then I looked at the stats. They're actually -10 in overall rebounds. Is that hard to believe for you as well?
You feel like this defensive rebounding category is almost the gimmies, right? You don't necessarily think about that. But for Lynchburg to be dominating that by 9, that's just something we didn't expect coming into today. And you got to make sure it shows up, right? The second half, you got to earn that advantage as well.
Audra Petty leads everybody in uniform with 5 rebounds right now for Lynchburg. 25 total rebounds for Lynchburg. Hollins, just the stats reset. They've got 16, still -9 in the rebounding margin. You mentioned they're equal in offensive boards. Both free throws go, and both teams continue to be solid from the charity line. 31-29, Lynchburg by 2. There's the handoff play. Hollins was ready. They jumped it, and it will lead to a Selah Parker traveling violation.
Well, it can be tricky when you pick up that offensive foul because sometimes you start guessing, okay, what's going to be the approach as Petty hits the bench? And I think you just got to trust your abilities. You see this time, no, it was Selah Parker on the exchange.
Allie Schaefer's back in the ballgame. She'll join Parker, Brown, Spainhour, and Kaysen for Lynchburg. Here's Morales. She'll curl through off the window and down for a deuce. We are tied one more time. 5th tie of the ballgame. What a game it's been. Kaysen probing, looking for space. Now she'll back out. Right side for Spainhour. Spainhour, a little bully ball in Morales. Some back and forth going on there. Officials are letting him play. Brown, tough catch, tough shot. Won't fall.
That was almost right over the head, and now you can tell Hollins trying to get out and run.
Morales, she'll pull from 14. No good. There's another Lynchburg rebound. One and done that time for Hollins, and they only used up about 4 seconds on the shot clock. Game clock under 50 seconds now in half number 1. Good handles from Parker. Kaysen made herself available. 40 seconds. 10 on the timer now. Ball's on the floor. Parker has it back. In the corner. Schaefer lets it fly, and she nails it. Lynchburg by 3 after another 3. Hornets making it rain from outside. 8 triples. Waiting for 14.
When you're a three-point specialist, you got to make sure that ball is falling, and she has done it here in the last 2 games at home.
What a rise for Allie Schaefer. It's just her 3rd career collegiate game. Hollins going to hold for the final shot. Floor is spread. I think Lynchburg's in a player-to-player, but it had the look of a 2-3 just the way Hollins was set up. Oh, nice job by Spainhour to take it away. Parker sees the clock, but can't really get a running start to let it fly from 50 feet, and that is how the half will end, and what a good half of basketball it was. It's Lynchburg 34, Hollins 31. As we go to the break, stats and more opinions and observations coming your way next on LHSN and Flow College.
to take a look momentarily.
Only 7. You think about Lynchburg, if they don't shoot the 3 ball as well as they do in this one, where does the game stand? However, you can't take any of that away. It all gets calculated in there somehow, and I think Lynchburg should feel pretty good about where they're at. But you can bet, Allison Nichols mentioned, ball control, ball security, tighten up the passes, take less chances. We cannot have 14 turnovers in half number 2 and expect to win.
Well, beyond the turnovers category, Lynchburg has played a pretty spotless game. You look at that three-point
or make the offensive player rather face scramble for the kick out on the pass on the outlet, which Lynchburg has done well. I mean, I think if you're Lynchburg, I wouldn't change the defensive effort too much. A caveat to that, though, could be, is this maybe the time, if you're Coach Nichols, to throw in that zone wrinkle, a 2-3, a 1-3-1, maybe something like that. That could keep Hollins, if nothing else, it's going to slow Hollins down a bit. They're going to have to diagnose the zone and get into their zone.
all the way back early in the 2000s. That was actually 2011-2012 season, and it was a 73-71 affair. So you recognize that Lynchburg has dominated, but clearly not this year with how Hollins has really recruited and developed.
Yeah, it really surprises me a bit, the 19 in a row, because Emily Dunton has really galvanized the players at Hollins. She's a daughter of a famous coach. She coached in high school, so she's kind of grounded. She understands all the elements of this game, and you just know Hollins is going to continue to have success.
It has really helped her ball club. 10 on the shot clock. Lynchburg looking to use every inch of it. First possession of the second half. Pass taken away, and there's another turnover. Hollins off to the races, straight to the rim, up and in. Dominant display from Nolani Carter, who will look to add one and tie this ball game at 34.
Yeah, I like that from Carter. She started 68 out of 68 games in her first 3 seasons. She's actually come off the bench a bit this year as a senior, but a chance to tie the ball game up one more time here.
Free throw on the way up and in. So all of a sudden, this Lynchburg team really identifying with the themes of the first half. They commit a turnover and then allow that transition to get the best of them. We'll see if the 3 ball is still lively here in the second 20 minutes. Spainhour searching and goes down low to Petty. Here's her versatility as she tries to get it and one. It rims out 2 shots at the free throw line.
I like that from Lynchburg, working the matchup, because typically we think Petty out on the wing shooting the 3 with Spainhour in the low post. That time a role reversal. Spainhour pops out, feeds it to Petty, lets her get in the bag a little bit in the paint.
That's the beauty of having Petty out there on the floor. She's so good at every position. 67% free throw shooter, knocks home the first one. Scored 49 points in the 2 games to earn ODAC Offensive Player of the Week. First time since 2022, and she still looks like the same player. She's back in double figures.
Yeah, so steady, so consistent. Double figures in now 7 of 7 games this season. And that ups her career mark to 17 of 31 games she's played in. She scored 10 or more.
Enjoying her time in the Hive. So is Sarah Morales, who has really enjoyed this matchup against the Hornets. Knots it up again at 36. Hollins hasn't led, but we've seen several ties throughout this game as Personal is charged right under the cup.
Yeah, that was Morales after the really good jumper. Gosh, if I'm Hollins, I'd like to see Sarah Morales shoot a few more jump shots. I know she can do other things, but great form on that there. She was just a step late, trying to beat Sayla Parker to that spot.
As we said, Morales, a very solid shooter early in her Hollins career. That shot percentage and number of attempts has gone down since, but it also translates to other categories like offensive rebounds. Leads the team with 19. Here's Spainhour. Cleanup duties right under the bucket. Adds 2 to the tally.
Got to give Coach Nichols some credit there. Dialed up another dandy on the baseline inbound.
And the Hornets swipe it right back.
Brooke Kaysen in the passing lane there with the tip to Spainhour.
Schaefer, extra pass to Petty. Rims out. Here's Carter. All of a sudden, a track race all the way around as Holden has it swatted away. Carter is one of those players where you can take it literally if you say it's a track race. On the Hollins track and field team, we said the same about Sayla Parker, who's right under the bucket defending the inbounds play. 8:16 to go in the third. Morales, a dribble, wraparound pass to Hufford, who can't get it to fall. Back and forth we go in what has been a pivotal middle of the conference matchup. Spainhour tried the fake, goes left, somehow almost rims it in. The best players find those small windows of space, but not that time.
Yeah, it was really good defense from Hufford as well to wall up, get vertical, and didn't give Spainhour much room. Still so good from Spainhour just to get a look off.
Here's Holden. On with that right hand, tries to get right to the bucket. Little too heavy off the backboard, but offensive rebound to Hollins. They try again. Hufford had the mismatch, and she's going to get fouled. You always say mismatch. Spainhour is 5'10", and Hufford can make anybody out there look small, 6'3", and the sophomore who transferred in has just immediately made an impact.
Yeah, and she's got some coils in the shoes, too. That's another word for spring in the step. She's really bouncy for a 6'3" player. Very impressed, just a sophomore as well. She's going to get better and better. But this little battle that her and Bree Spainhour had going on, that was fun to watch. Spainhour is off for a breather now with Taylor Brown in.
Very solid 88% from the charity stripe this year. One of 3 players from Lord Bonnetown High School. This Hollins team has 4 in-state players, and 3 of them right down the street in Daleville. Hufford knocks home the second. Tied up again, third time here in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Kaysen looking down low for Taylor Brown. They couldn't find the window, and almost a pick 6 the other way. Now Parker goes with the crossover and offensive foul. That was on Taylor Brown on the screen. That'll be her first of the contest. Nobody in foul trouble yet. No one has more than 2 for either squad.
Yeah, another look at it there. Great replay again from our LHSN Flo College crew. Be your own referee. Taylor Brown, I think, was frustrated with that one, though.
Morales thought about the mid-range, looked to dip down to Hufford. Out of bounds, Hornets basketball.
Good stand there. Again, Hollins has had multiple possessions where they could take a lead, but they haven't. We've had 8 ties, but no lead changes in this ball game. Let's see if Lynchburg can seize control again. Sometimes after a turnover, coaches will run a set play there, try to get the team a little bit more organized. See if that happens with Lynchburg.
Petty tried to throw it to Brown. It was just swarmed. Several bodies around. Now in transition, ball is kicked away. It's a traveling violation first on Jakora Russell. Or was it on one of the Hornets?
Yeah, I think it's on Audra Petty, which is a little, you talk about a bad break, bad luck. I mean, the ball got kicked right into her midsection as she was running to play defense. And she just, couldn't get the feet stopped in time. You're not really thinking about using a jump stop when you're trying to block somebody.
Not at all. Was already in the breadbasket before she could think twice. Beautiful pass down low. Hufford a little too heavy. Gonna get her own offensive rebound. And they're going to signal that the shot clock should not have reset. Didn't hit the rim, so that's going to be 7 seconds for Hollins to work with.
Yeah, I think good officiating right there. It may be bad break for Hollins because now they have to get it back in bounds. Also, Lynchburg can get a sub in the form of Kayla Terry in there.
Does help your offense, though, knowing you have limited time on the clock as we're going to head to the media break anyway. 6:29 to go in the third quarter. A good one here in the Hill City. We're tied up at 38. Stick with us. Shot clock, elbow jumper, 6 for Sarah.
They have worked hard for it. Lynchburg as much as 9 at one point in the first half.
Back the other way, Morales, bounce pass cross court. Lynchburg defense, man-to-man for the moment. Holden, trying to penetrate. She has been swarmed all game long. Kaysen with the rebound.
I think Coach Dunton wanted a foul, but I also don't think she was in love with the shot. I think she wanted a bit more passing, break down that Lynchburg defense, rather than just a straight line drive.
Look at the pressure one-on-one. Hornets trying to find anything, go down low to Petty. Pass right into the breadbasket for Taylor Brown. Off the backboard and in.
Tied up again. Basketball IQ there from Audra Petty. She knows she's going to get 1.5 defenders, sometimes 2. Great feed, and you mentioned right in the breadbasket, it was in the perfect shooting pocket for Taylor Brown.
Lynchburg 4-0 when leading at the half, 3-0 right here in Turner Gymnasium this season, as the offensive foul is going to be called. That one on Hufford. That'll be her second. Kyle, you think about those 2 streaks, you'd love to keep it throughout the entire season. Obviously, that's not realistic, but I think a game like this, where Lynchburg's right in the fight, they got to like their chances.
I totally agree. I think Coach Nichols, even though she's seen the 9-point lead evaporate, she's seen her team actually play from behind for a few seconds anyway, I think she loves where her ball club is at right here. Still going to have to knock down some shots. Seen a few more whistles from the referees, aren't you? I don't know if they just want to make sure the game doesn't completely get out of hand here, but another foul. That one is going to be on Gracie Hufford.
That's the 4th team foul for Hollins. Both teams at 4, and we've still got 4:53 to play. Good thing that both of these teams are pretty good at the charity stripe. Evan Gates and Kyle Haney hanging with you. We're going to keep it right here throughout the break. It gives us a chance to look around the ODAC games today, all starting at 7:30 other than this one. Roanoke travels to Guilford, while Shenandoah is on their way to Virginia Wesleyan. Randolph plays at Bridgewater. So those are 3 games other than the one here in Lynchburg. We're going to take a look at those preseason standings for the ODAC and where those teams fall now, because Kyle, I think the biggest indication so far at this point of the year is that all of the teams who were projected in that top 8 are holding true to form. It's only been 1 or 2 losses to start the year, and I mean Washington and Lee at the top, unblemished and unbeaten. That really looks like it's going to stick.
I think early on, yeah, currently, look at everybody on the list there. 5 wins or more. Roanoke's 3-1, I beg your pardon. But it tells you the quality of ODAC basketball, because they're going and playing in these non-conference games and having success. You and I Sunday bantered a bit about how good the ODAC men's side is, with 3 and 4 and 5 teams in the top 25. I think the women's side in the ODAC is going to get to that point eventually. And there's some other factors in there, but look, great coaches, talented teams, and again, this talent base to draw from in Virginia and around the Mid-Atlantic in general. And as we see, the players from San Antonio, Texas, and things like that, these ODAC teams are going border to border, coast to coast to get players.
That's right. It's a beautiful network in Division III. And, you know, when you look at the team standings so far, I think the earliest indication is, yes, the strength of schedule might not be what it is when you enter conference play. You know, there are a lot of tough teams, but we might have expected those records to go down. You're seeing teams that start 3-0 or 4-0, and they just continue to accelerate. I think that's a testament to not only the players, but like you said, the coaching.
Coaching is so good, and I'm looking at the ODAC standings even more on our own info here. Only 1 team with a losing record right now. The Averett Cougars are the only team in the conference with a losing record at the moment. It tells you, again, just how high quality this conference is, as Brian Wallace continues to chat with the scorers table. Tie ball game, 40-40. Again, I love this. You want to make sure you get everything right if you're a referee, because you don't know if a second here or there makes a difference. I think this is, again, probably another time situation. I'm pretty sure our score is right, Evan. I'm just thinking maybe time on the clock or shot clock time potentially as far as what they're discussing at the table.
Well, both teams taking advantage of it as they both went back to their huddles, maybe drawing up something else, and obviously going through the hypotheticals at this case of the game. 40-40 is your score. Right now, the only player in double figures for either squad is Audra Petty. 11 points, 3 for 6 from the field, 5 rebounds and an assist to go with it. That's pretty standard for what we've seen early in the season from her, and you don't necessarily want to rely on a sophomore to give you that scoring, but there are a lot of indications that she's going to do this every night because she has so far.
I agree, and she'll have to find more ways to do it. That's what those great players do, because, yeah, you can spot up and hit a three for a few games before teams recognize, but look, back to those great coaches. I mean, they're studying film. They know your moves a little bit better than you do, so they're going to have you scouted. You got to develop more moves, get the bag even deeper.
The long discussion results in free throws for Jackie Jacobisi. This is the front end, the front side of the rim.
Yeah, I guess we didn't see that coming.
Tell you, you go through the whole blueprint, you know, plan A, plan B, and then it ends up being something, a side road and out. Hollins has the basketball, and they trail by 1. Evan Gates and Kyle Haney, if you're just tuning in, and the foul is caught under the bucket on Kayla Terry. That's her first of the ball game.
Good minutes tonight for Kayla Terry. She's a player a little bit like Brooke Kaysen, where she's going to do a lot that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but very dependable, very reliable as a senior.
Very energetic and helps this squad in every department. Morales looking to enter in the post.
I mean, look at Terry's defense down there.
That's right. A few claps of the hand and a foul right before a jump ball scenario. And unfortunately, it is on Kayla Terry.
Well, did the clapping get the referee's attention? Perhaps, maybe. I mean, I love the energy. You just said enthusiastic, energetic. That's what Kayla Terry does. And it could be a coaching point here from Coach Nichols. She might say, hey, you know, if you didn't clap, we might not have called it on you.
Well, it's frustrating, too, as Coach Nichols has those hands straight up in the air. We'll look at it again, and I think it was likely, probably that last sequence.
Yeah.
And it's so tough. It's a game of inches in every way. You think about trying to get those jump balls, but Terry is taking the ball up the court, still in the ball game after picking up 2 quick ones. Spainhour, top of the key, charging all the way north-south to the bucket.
Great move there. If you don't get in front of her, she will victimize you and get to the basket, and you know she's going to finish more often than not.
Spainhour played 30 minutes versus Meredith after posting a combined 22 minutes in her first 2 rehab games. Ball goes outside. Morales thought about it. Now dishes to Gutierrez. Ball reversal so quick from Hollins. And a foul over the top on Brooke Kaysen. Bonus situation, so 2 shots ensuing.
Love the chess match, though, game within the game here, because Hollins is trying to get Kayla Terry and Brooke Kaysen, whoever they're guarding, they're trying to get them the ball in the low post. So they're trying to take advantage of the smaller matchup, and guards typically don't defend the post-up stuff as good. But we're seeing Kaysen and Terry really hold their own. However, it's resulted in some free throws, so maybe you keep going back to that well if you're Hollins next time down. We'll see.
Obviously, physicality has been on display the entire time as well. I want to give you a stat. We don't have anyone in foul trouble because there are 9 players with 2 fouls right now. So something might start to give. You look at the end of this third quarter. And a turnover way away from the bucket. Bree Spainhour gives it away. Hollins looking to break the tie again. 11 ties in this game so far. Aaron Allen, strong take, trying to go straight up with the mid-range. Somehow shovels the pass to Gutierrez. Other side to Morales, can't sink it. A scram after the rebound, and it's a foul on one of the Hornets.
No, it's on Hollins. It's on Carter. And she's another one with 2 now.
Wow.
How is it? What's that make now?
That makes 10. I don't know if we've ever seen that.
And it was Kayla Terry boxing out, and Carter got on the back there, so Terry's going to get some free throws. This is a shooting situation. The player control, where when you commit an offensive foul with the ball, those are the non-shooting ones. And really the term should be player out of control, I think. I always thought player control foul was a bad term, but
little misleading.
Yeah.
This is where Lynchburg's really going to benefit from its free throw percentage this year. It's at 72% as a team. And you look down the chart for today, they're 8 for 9. As Terry sinks the second, no announcers curse tonight. And so it just goes to show that the entire committee for Lynchburg, obviously they like the 3 ball, they like to have those shooting percentages up, but the little things are starting to make a big difference.
They really are. I think great free throw shooting Sunday, 11 for 13. I think the great coaches, I have a theory, I think they don't talk about free throws, believe it or not, because I think everybody knows you're supposed to make the free throw, right? So what is the coach hammering you saying, guys, we got to knock down our free throws? What does that really do? I think the great coaches actually don't mention it that much.
That's right.
They practice it, but it's not a big talking point, I don't think.
If you have bought-in players, they're doing it anyways.
Sure.
Drive and a strong one to the cup for Jacora Russell. Count it, and an extra tally potentially as the foul is on Selah Parker. That was right under the basket. She will pick up her second foul.
Boy, Jacora Russell, for a player that has only played 10 minutes in this game, she only played 10 minutes on Saturday, really makes a big impact in sort of a limited sample size, and she can now break the tie.
There's a reason she started every game for Hollins so far this year. Obviously, get that physicality, but look at the speed up and down for the green and gold. They have held stride with Lynchburg throughout this one. One of the biggest up-tempo teams in Division III. It doesn't help them out this time. Shakabisi is called for the travel. We're tied up at 45 with 2:43 left in the third.
Need a term for a player like Carter who starts but doesn't even play half the game typically. You got those sixth-man, sixth-woman type of players who do the opposite. They don't start, but they come off the bench and play like 30 minutes. But we need another term for somebody like Carter. Back-to-back traveling violations, one for each team.
What do they call it in baseball? The setup guy or the opener?
Yeah, the opener. Sure, it would be the opener. Sure, maybe she can be an opener, yeah.
Now, like you said, I don't know how often you see it in basketball, and I think what's interesting about it is a team that isn't that suspicious, which I don't know if you see any of those nowadays, but look at the scouting report, you say, oh, she started every game, you got all the tape, and then forget the player on the bench.
Yeah.
Petty looking for options. Beautiful pass into Kaysen and just couldn't finish. Had everything but the toppings, and a turnover in transition the other way gives the basketball right back to Lynchburg.
But go back to that play there with Petty. That's her gravity, because when she picks up the ball, she's going to draw obviously her own defender, but then the other defenders start inching toward her as well, so that can free up somebody else.
Schaefer from Jupiter can't do it this time. We do have a Canada on our Lynchburg team. I'm waiting to say from Canada at some point this year, because she has been another three-point shooter like so many candidates here in this freshman class.
Yeah, Caitlin Canada, I made quite a few notes about her as a first year. She's actually played in every game, but I don't think she has played in this one. So that would break a streak if we don't see young Canada.
Parker surveying, tries to get the entry pass to Petty, interrupted by the foul, and that'll be another bonus situation. So 2 shots on the way, stop and go traffic here in this third quarter.
Really good again from Petty. It's a post move, but she's actually in between the lane and the three-point line because of the way the defense got on her. Abby Kingery there called for the foul. And Petty is and these different defenses that teams are throwing at her.
It's a chess match, read and react throughout the season. And so for someone who has had such a strong sophomore campaign to get the party started, got to feel like the defenses will pick up an ODAC play. Of course, it has started here tonight for Hollins, their first conference game. Lynchburg dropped its opening one against 6th-ranked Washington and Lee. Other side of the floor, another drive straight to the backboard. That's Jacora Russell again. Looked like she almost took a tumble right into the padding.
And our camera operator, Landon Spots, is down there.
I'm glad she's an athlete, too, because you got to be agile to get out of the way on the floor.
Makes you feel more confident when we have an athlete of the caliber of Landon Spots down there working that camera. But again, good burst to the basket. Hollins has got so many players, including Russell, who can really beat you with the dribble. Yeah,
I got to ask you, Kyle, if you're in that situation, are you sacrificing the body or the camera?
Well, Landon Spots is an athlete, so she probably sacrificed the body. Me, I'm using the camera to shield myself.
That's right. Any defender possible.
Yeah, we'll just write that off as a loss on the taxes.
Somebody will pick it up. Patty was off balance with the shot attempt. She's going to head to the charity stripe for 2. That's a foul on Zaria Holden. So that's her 3rd.
You know, we've been talking about Audra Petty a lot. Does it seem like Lynchburg is getting the ball to her more, trying to run the offense through her more right now?
Well, she has been perfect from the charity stripe, too. And so you think about these situations, she can operate from any part of the floor. And you're ultimately in a bonus situation like this, just going to keep inching forward if you get to the free throw line.
Lynchburg's gone away from the three-pointer in this quarter as well. 0 for 2 from beyond the line. Remember, they were 8 for 14 from long distance in half number 1. We thought they'd lean into that. They've actually gone away from it.
Well, we've had 16 combined fouls in this quarter alone, which housed the first 2 quarters. As the ball is out the other way, Landon Spots once again staying right in the spot.
Well, look, it's rare that the camera operator becomes a big part of the storyline, but Landon Spots is just going to move slightly. She's tired of that.
There are no courtside seats under the buckets here in Turner Gymnasium, so you got to work with the padding behind you. Barker called for the travel. Looked like that pivot foot was just dragged, and we still have 54 seconds left.
Well, the fouls and then things like that have slowed this game down. Stop and go traffic was a perfect descriptor by you.
Russell surveys to the other side. Here's Carter. Dishing to Missy Hazard. Mentioned one of the prolific three-point shooters on this team. Hasn't had an opportunity yet. Now, drive from Kingery. She's calling for the travel. Wet floor sign or something, because everybody is dragging that foot along.
Back to back again, yeah. Well, if you look at the pace, too, both teams have scored 15 points apiece. They've combined for 30, which is the lowest scoring quarter, but not by much. Second quarter was 32 points. It looks like first quarter was 33 points. So maybe it's not as pedestrian as it feels like, but it sure has lacked rhythm, I think.
Well, it certainly will pick up intensity in that fourth quarter. Being a three-point game right now, you know, the halftime, or rather the third quarter huddles will certainly fire things up. Spainhour tries to go with the reversal, somehow got through, weaving in and out. Textbook material.
She's so good. You give her an inch, she'll take 2. She's done that so much throughout her career.
Hollins down 5, but it feels like a big deficit in a game as tightly played as this one. Morales misses the rim. Jacobisi the rebound. That concludes our third quarter. Back and forth the entire way, but Lynchburg has taken a 5-point lead into the final 10 minutes. Oh, we've got a good one in Turner Gymnasium. Hope you'll stick around on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network and Flow College.
with their offense. You're seeing that. Morales being guarded by Allie Schaefer. Coach Dunton has obviously sort of identified, hey, who's the defender on the floor at that moment we want to go at? In this case, it was Allie Schaefer. So you clear everybody out, let Morales do her thing, which she can do anyway. But that's like kind of an NBA level concept where they'll figure out who the weakest defender on the floor is. And that's not a slap in Allie Schaefer's face. It's just, I mean, I guess you could have 5 equal defenders, but if you're Hollins, they're going to try to pick one matchup they like the best and run their offense that way. Transition offense might be slightly different. Let's see what the green and gold does this time down.
Working by committee. Morales picks up that dribble, looks around. Here's Hazard. Thought about it. Hasn't had a field goal attempt yet today. That changes on the short corner floater. No good. Parker the rebound. Tell you what, there are a lot of strong defenders on the floor, and sometimes that changes the blueprint when you're trying to find the weakest one. Spainhour, nifty spin, goes up to the summit. And through contact, 2 shots on the way.
And if you remember, think back to when Kayla Terry was on the floor for Lynchburg. Hollins kept trying to go at her and go at her. And it worked out to some extent. But, you know, Lynchburg is good enough team defense-wise and then also individually that I don't think you're ever going to be able to go to one well over and over and over again. So you have to be willing to adapt. You have to have multiple options. Take a look at Lynchburg, for example. I mean, they've really divvied out the points. Petty's got 15, Spainhour now 13 with that last free throw.
Obviously a long game. You're going to have those back and forth runs, and I think every coach understands it. But when you look at Hollins, go back to that last game against William Peace, they gave up 10 straight points heading into the 4th quarter. Much like this one, obviously to a smaller degree, but they suffered that 5-point deficit going into the 4th. You can't let Lynchburg leap forward even more.
No, I agree. And if you go back to last year between these squads, Lynchburg outscored Hollins in the 4th quarter 20-10. Hollins actually carried a lead into the final frame there. The foul on Schaefer as she was trying to box out Morales. So there's that matchup again in a different way, I suppose.
That'll be her 3rd personal game because it looks like it was a pretty easy 7 for Lynchburg. It was far from it. That Hollins team has really started to develop well, and especially at home. As Morales missed the gimme. Nice offensive rebound. Up and in for Hufford.
Beautiful from Hufford. Again, love her game. A little bit off balance there and fires that one to the window.
Spainhour lost the dribble. Sayla Parker there to retrieve. Now around the horn. Thought about going right downstairs to Brown. Punched away. Green and gold in transition. Hazard. Far side, a pump fake, and misses everything. Just came up short. Like the execution, just couldn't come away with the jump shot.
Turnovers again, though, Evan. We said at the halftime break where Lynchburg had 14 in quarters 1 and 2. Now, I mean, they're actually only 5 away from having 14. Need to go to a math class, but I'm pretty sure that adds up. 14 plus 14 would be 28.
That's right. We've got that one. And, you know, this is a team where if you look at the last game for Lynchburg, they played a Meredith team that averaged 30. And that number felt so high to be early in the season, but Lynchburg has been right there as well. Perhaps a product of the quick play. Also some careless passing in other departments as Holden goes outside. Right back to her, looking to drive, gets past Parker, powers through to add to the tally. It's just a 1-possession game.
Well, I'll use this phrase, hold on.
Kaysen trying to connect, no good.
I'll use this phrase real quick for Lynchburg. Not all turnovers are created equal, if that makes sense. There's some as a coach you can live with, others are pretty unforgivable. Here's a scramble for it that has both coaches' attention. It's like Hollins got the timeout in before they lost the ball, Evan.
How about the hustle from Brooke Kaysen as well to go down on the hardwood?
Brooke Kaysen, again, I can't say enough good things about what she does. She's never going to be the fastest or tallest player on the court, but she just got such basketball IQ, understands the nuances of the game, and then understands those things about how you have to hustle, how you have to sacrifice for your team. and she's really done that throughout her career.
I love the word understands, because there's an assignment here on the table for this Lynchburg team, and it's that you're going to have those highs and lows of ODAC play. This is a matchup that you know is going to be tough, because you're neck and neck with somebody in the conference standings coming into the year, as Hollins was projected 8th, Lynchburg right at 7th. And so far, as we continue to see some of the aggression displayed in these final 7.5 minutes, you feel like it does come down to some of those hustle stats, right?
It does. It's going to have to, because not every possession is going to be pretty. In fact, if you've watched this game, fans, you know there haven't been a ton of pretty possessions, so do the gritty before the pretty. Do the gritty instead of the pretty, and expect that you're going to have to scramble for balls. I think if you coach Allison Nichols, you've probably resigned yourself, hey, we're going to turn it over a few more times before this game ends. But if we can limit it, if we can turn Hollins over, we should be in good shape. Just a 3-point lead right now for Lynchburg, though.
Lynchburg in good hands when you look at all the streaks from this year, and one in particular that's maybe a little different from previous seasons. When a Hornet has scored at least 20 points, they have typically boded well. They've done it in 5 of the 6 games, and that was something that wasn't present last year. More of a committee effort. Leading scorer Olivia Harris typically wouldn't have those 20 totals. It helped out throughout the year as Hufford somehow able to readjust, get that ball up and in.
Yeah, the catch was as impressive as the basket. Hollins within 1.
Takabisi bounce pass, take it away. Offered right down to the floor. A scram as everybody inches forward. The move from Russell, and she's caught for the travel.
Let's go back to these turnovers for Lynchburg and how they're not all created equal. Sometimes Lynchburg's trying to thread a pass through a tight window, through the eye of the needle, if you will. Other times, again, they are just sort of lazy passes. Maybe you shorten the passes a little bit. Maybe you do use the dribble just a little bit more. There's another one. Take away on the pass.
Oh, and just on the side. Out of bounds, Lynchburg keeps the ball. We've seen so many of those today where Hollins just hasn't had a clear breakaway. They've got 20 points off of turnovers in this game, and you feel like that total could be a lot higher.
Agreed. Another key for Lynchburg going forward would be use the ball fake a little bit more. You've got an aggressive Hollins team that's trying to get in your passing lanes. So you got to ball fake them, and then maybe it's where the backdoor cut comes in, or at least some kind of ball fake to keep that defender honest.
Saw that right foot for Jacora Russell. That's the reason she was out of bounds, just narrowly along the side. And a foul gone on Sarah Morales. That'll be her 3rd. So a few players for Hollins now with 3. Hufford and Holden the other 2. And obviously those are main contributors for this team. You can't lose them. What feels like the energy's just taken up an extra notch, Kyle.
Oh, I agree. You're starting to see that physicality spill over a little bit, where some players are getting frustrated with how they're being handled defensively.
Look at that pressure put on Sayla Parker. Now Bree Spanauer look to go backdoor, extra pass to Terry. All sorts of trouble right in the middle of the paint. Lynchburg will maintain possession, but everybody from Hollins on their feet.
A beautiful basketball and set up by Lynchburg. Terry just a little indecisive, and good recovery by the Hollins defense as well.
6:26 to play. Terry, the inbounds, beautiful pass right in front of the bucket. Petty couldn't get it to fall, and a foul on the floor. Oh, wow, that one is likely going to be called on Sarah Morales again. It was either Morales or Hufford. Either way, it would be their 4th.
So now we can say that Hollins does have some foul trouble individually. 3 as a team, so that bonus will be creeping in.
Another inbounds play for Lynchburg. They go to Petty, ready for the 3. Oh, can't connect. Couldn't clip the rim, and here comes Hollins. Transition upstairs to Morales, fouled in transit. 2 shots on the way. Morales was the one who picked up her 4th personal. Perhaps this Lynchburg offense or defense has put that one away. You understand, anywhere on the floor, you got to take advantage of those physical situations.
Yeah, that's one place an assistant coach can really be of value, to tell players, hey, she's playing with 4, she being number 30, Sarah Morales, so go at her when you have an opportunity. That's kind of game within the game stuff, but it does happen.
them home, leapfrogging Lynchburg into the lead. 54-53, green and gold. Parker has really turned into the main ball handler here in this fourth quarter. Very untraditional. A Spainhour wraps around and knocks it home.
Just great work again by Spainhour. Left shoulder. Here's a steal by Schaefer.
Spainhour cleans the glass, and that's maybe not the worst situation as Coach Nichols signals for Lynchburg to run a play here. Slow things down inside the 6-minute mark. Kaysen creeping along the perimeter. Entry pass results in foul number 4 on Gracie Hufford. So all of a sudden, bad to worse for this Hollins team. 2 of their starters with 4 fouls.
Crazy how a game can switch that way at halftime. We said, hey, nobody's really in foul trouble, nothing to worry about. Now all of a sudden, some major contributors for Hollins. Got to be very careful.
For so long, we were sitting at 2 fouls for so many players. Upwards of 11 as Petty goes to the opposite hand. Pretty offense.
Yeah, bag work again from Petty. I expect more of that down the stretch. We'll see if Hollins is anticipating her to take over as well.
Punches have been thrown both ways in this game. You look at the scoreboard, 13 ties, 6 lead changes. Hufford directing traffic, goes right down to Carter. Second attempt, up and off the glass. Those will sting you if you're a defense. Hour ran right into trouble, trying to tiptoe along the baseline. And it's not her friend this time. Referee intervenes. Hollins basketball.
Green and gold can take the lead again like that. Using her athleticism, caught the defense, not off a little bit.
They're giving to Alani Carter space. Doesn't elect to go this time. The pass into Hufford, take it away. Trying to take advantage of being in the right position, and Spainhour just a towering presence under the bucket. Brooke Kaysen spins around. Here's Spainhour. Waits for the screen. Outside, Petty, long mid-range jumper won't fall. Rebound clipped all around. A pinball machine that finds the hands of Marissa. Awarded.
We'll give her. Remember, she's playing with 4 fouls. She went in there and put her hands in the cookie jar and did not get caught. Parker had position there. But again, our officials have let the ladies play. And in a game like this, you have to. You can't call everything. So good effort by Morales to know what she could get away with and get the ball back via the tie-up.
Missy Hazard into the game. You wonder if this is offense for defense or if it's just to buy Morales a few minutes. She's played 28 of them and looked a little fatigued on the bench. Entry pass to Hufford. Kicks right back out. Cross court. The connections all around, and somehow the bank 3 falls. Zaria Holden used every part of the backboard.
Wow. Great stuff there for Holden. She's in double figures for the 5th time this season now.
Reversals all around. Here's Petty. Powerful dribbles right to the cup, swatted away. Green and gold can start to sniff it. Layup just too heavy. Who wants the rebound? Goes all the way around to Spainhour. And the entire Hollins bench putting some extra charge into this ball game. Coach Nichols can sense it. She calls timeout.
There, I just didn't know if Coach Nichols was going to let her team, make offense before using that timeout. But you take body language. 3:16 left to play. Both teams now should have timeouts at their disposal. Evan, yep. What a ball game. Hollins by 2.
Far from an evening ball. Perhaps you could say an evening brawl here in the Hill City. A good one. 2-point lead Hollins when we return. 3:16 to play in the Hill City. Hollins 59, Lynchburg 57. To the climax we go as Allie Schaefer prepares to inbound. So far, 20 have been the big Lynchburg team, just 18 for Hollins. But somehow it has still been a tight game. Every stat category going one or the other direction. Beautiful dish, and Spainhour delivers down low.
Yeah, go to your seniors, I would say, when you need it. Expect more of that from Lynchburg.
Hazard, far side. Still no Sarah Morales. There's 4 fouls. Hufford does as well. She's downstairs. Tries to go around. Can't connect. This Lynchburg team starting to get a little extra firepower. They've gone with this 5 for the majority of the fourth quarter. Parker, Spainhour, Petty, Kaysen, and Schaefer. The freshman in the corner who's gotten some really good minutes. Parker ready to drive. Just left it a little too heavy. Side to Hazard. Here's Allen. Tries to go up and punches it home. Chance for a 3-point play.
Impressive from Aaron Allen. I really like that. I really like Zaria Holby. She looked like she wanted to attack one on the pump the get in the front court and then react on with Aaron Allen. Very impressive.
Free throw up and away. Clips the backside of the rim. Offensive rebound, Hollins. They have dominated that category lately. 17-9 now on the game. Entry pass denied by Petty. Goes out of bounds. This Lynchburg team last year 2-3 in games decided by single figures. They're 1-0 this year with a win over William Peace. Trailed by 10 at the half. Came back to win by 7.
And I've got the single-digit numbers for Hollins if you want them. 2-0 this year. They got a 1-point win to start the season. They were 3-1 in single-digit games last year. So both teams probably fairly comfortable playing a tight one.
Something's got to give. Both teams just 1 loss on the season. That is a powerful swat. Shot clock violation. Lynchburg's defense steps up big, and they needed it.
Brooke Kaysen, we've been talking about her again. We're talking about her all game, but we mentioned her again. You don't think of her as a shot blocker, but she can step up and make a play in that area when you need it.
When you look at Kaysen's stats on the season, it already indicates that she can do it at every category. Game continues into the defensive side. Schaefer looking around. Hand off to Parker. All the reversals, and it's all around Breeze. Spainhour almost tied up and count it right to the. Welcome back.
Last 4 points for Breeze. Get in these pressures. Why wouldn't you want your proven scorers? Well, incredible stuff.
Jacoby for back-to-back 20-point games for Spainhour. As we said, just her 4th game on the season after rehabbing from that torn ACL. 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 assists to go with it. And she has put Lynchburg right where they need to be, and that's in the lead. 62-61 inside the final 90 seconds. Reversals around as Lynchburg goes back to zone defense. The question for Hollins is who is going to pull the trigger in the pressure situations.
Yeah, you can tell this zone's slowing Hollins down a bit.
Oh, Jacobisi just stood firm to get the block, and a foul going the other way. The problem right now for Hollins, they have 3 players with 4 fouls. Holden, Morales, and Hufford. Perhaps the 3-headed monster has been at the top of this team.
Well, and I know points aren't the only thing, but those are the 3 players in double figures for Hollins. So, yeah, that'll be 5 on Holden. They called that on Zaria Holden, so that does get some time to think about the substitute.
How big is that? Your leading scorer, and you felt like a war of attrition in this game. Hollins has 63 seconds to try and go and take the lead again. You want to be able to do it with your star power.
Petty's going. Is her being sneaky, or was she the one that got fouled?
We'll have to go back and see. Petty's been really good at the stripe today, by the way.
No doubt.
6 for 6. And, of course, this is going to be the one that misses.
Yeah. I don't believe in announcers' jinxes, but if you needed something for the...
There you go. We got to have one. And this is going to be a critical 63 seconds. Hornets up by 1, and the second free throw rattles home. One possession game. Hope you have your popcorn ready. A thriller here at ODAC play. Lynchburg tries to remain undefeated on their home floor. Russell, strong dribble around the horn. Hollins continues, and Betty able to rip away the turnover. Right back to the stripe. Lynchburg getting these when they've needed them.
Love it. That started for Hollins. They were whipping it all around the court, but then one loose pass allows Audra to step in there.
2 more shots for Audra Petty. 18 points on the day, 8 rebounds. 6 the front end.
Yeah, that one felt good. I think she breathed a little sigh of relief herself on that. You see the way she backed all the way up to the 3-point line.
A little bit easier, too, when it's a little bit more of a cushion. Chance to make it a 2-possession game. Clips the backside of the rim. Spainhour got a hand on it. And timeout, Coach Dunton. Astute decision with right here on LHSN and Flo College. Kyle, obviously, you got a chance to go 2 for 1 here if you're Hollins. You likely want to employ that being down 3. Who's taking the shot in this case, though, now that Zaria Holden is benched with 5 fouls?
A good question. I think Coach Dunton's probably going to have 2 ideas for her team in this huddle. One against that 2-3 zone that Lynchburg's been playing, and then one if Lynchburg goes back to the player-to-player, because that's a common thing when you get a timeout, switch defenses. If you're Lynchburg, you could really throw a wrinkle in there by going to something different, a 1-3-1 or something full court. However, let's just assume they go 2-3 or the player-to-player. I think you got to go inside first. I really do. I know Hollins is down 3, and people love the three-pointer. I think you try to go inside for a quick 2. So, you know, probably means Hufford is involved there. Maybe Morales possibly getting on one of those low posts. But find a way to get it inside first. Now, also, if I'm Coach Dunton and an open three-pointer presents itself, I don't think you hate that. I mean, Holden has 2. Gutierrez is 2 for 4 from 3. I'm not sure if she's on the court right now. Could be an option as far as a three-point shot goes.
Made 3s for Hollins is going to be for this ball game as they advance up the floor. 44 seconds to go. Lynchburg by 3.
Yeah, I don't know if Lynchburg's disguising it or not, but it looks like they're going to be in that zone, doesn't it?
I'd agree. Yeah. No fouls to give in this case for either squad. Carter passes inside. Morales off balance. Sinks it. That's exactly what they needed, and as you pointed out, Kyle, the quick 2 makes it a 1-point game.
Yeah, it made me look pretty smart right there, and it was Morales, too, one of the players that I mentioned. Good job to break down that 2-3 zone. Now Hollins can set up their full court pressure. Very nice.
Safe to say, it's not a bad decision. Lynchburg has 27. Nichols under timeout. 1-point game as Hollins very narrow affair. And think about Sarah Morales, right? 13 points on the day, 4 rebounds. It feels like she has been a lot more dominant than just those stats indicate in those big-time spots.
Yeah, she's had 20 in a ball game this year. 15 against William P. Saturday, really rounding into form. I love what Morales can bring to the ball club. Morales has got a 3 tonight as well. That's her first make from 3 this season. You know, I think Hollins, they love that full court setup, but now with the Lynchburg timeout, Coach Nichols is going to opt to advance the ball up here to half court. So now what does Hollins try to do defensively? That'll be our next question. And if you're Lynchburg, you're up 1. There's a danger in playing to protect that lead. 30 seconds on the shot clock, 35.2 on the game clock. So a differential of 5.2 seconds. Lynchburg cannot run out the clock.
This has got to be A near-perfect possession for Lynchburg. Patient passing. Who the Hornets select to go to. Sayla Parker was available. Goes to Andra Petty. 30 ticks to die off the game clock in the biggest spot of the season so far. Parker. Bounce pass, interrupted. Spainhour, the pump fake, going to the cup. Just couldn't get it to fall. And a foul under the bucket. It was on Lynch. Far away from Hollins. They head to the other end of the floor for two.
Looks like the foul was on Audra Petty, her third. Going after that loose ball rebound. It's going to send Hufford to the line. No way of understating this moment. These are big shots.
Not who you want if you're Lynchburg. 88% on the year. Noise coming alive in Turner Gymnasium and makes the front end. This is what they talk about in the backyard. 1 to tie, 2 to win. Hollins sure hopes so. If they can take the lead, a narrow one. This is the biggest shot of the night. Can't cash in. Spainhour the rebound, and immediately a timeout from Coach Nichols.
Yeah, Coach was maybe going to save it if a player got in trouble on a sideline, get trapped situation, but opts to call the timeout right there, and I don't hate that. Tough break for Hufford. I say tough break. I mean, she did tie the game. She made 1 of 2, so clearly this is going to be a big sequence. Now, remember the last time Lynchburg had to inbound, Evan, they put Hufford on the ball doing the jumping jacks. I like that at 6'3", but you can get burned by that if the inbounder is not the player she's guarding. So she's got to face guard, do the jumping jacks, try to get in the window, and then scramble back and find her player, unless you opt for a zone if you're Hollins.
Well, here's the problem. If you go to Bree Spainhour, which Lynchburg is likely looking in that direction, you feel like Hufford being away from the paint is going to be a problem.
Yes.
This Lynchburg team has really defined that presence down low. They matched Hollins, a team that outs in those paint points.
And if Hollins, you've got to make sure you box out when the shot goes up, because so often it's the second shot that beats you, not the first shot.
Jacobisi to inbound. Far side, Spainhour looking for the reversal. Right under the bucket, just too heavy. Hollins has a chance. And now a timeout in the other direction. Coach Dunton taking her chances with a final timeout left on the scoreboard. And Hollins has a chance to end it.
Well, you're not going to have your nails left after this one, because it's going to come down to the wire. Regulation may not be enough, but what a great setup for Lynchburg. Defense really collapsed nicely to make that a tough shot for Bree Spainhour, and now Hollins has earned themselves a chance to maybe walk it off and win this thing on the road.
No fouls to give in this case of the ball game, and this Lynchburg team that is fight in the categories they needed to, like rebounds, where by 3, a projection that would have been far from certain after the last few games would have indicated. The green and gold, a chance for a statement win. Russell charges into the front court, dishes off to Morales. Ticks falling off the clock, has to hoist right side of the rim. A game of inches saves Lynchburg, and we're heading to overtime.
My, oh my. You know, when you consider buzzer beater types of shots, it was not a terrible look for Morales. Just couldn't get it to go.
Extra basketball on the other side. Stick with us at LHSN and Flo College. High energy antics as we have free basketball in the Hill City, 64 apiece. As Hollins had a chance at the buzzer, Sarah Morales, who has been the Hornet killer in the last few years, just a tad to the right. And so we play on. Spainhour wins the tip. This is perhaps where Hollins fouled to its detriment. 3 players had 4 fouls, and Holden fouled out.
Trying to find the last time Lynchburg and Hollins had played an overtime game, not necessarily against each other, just in general. It's been a while for Lynchburg. Rolling here, turnover there from Bree Spainhour, just kind of lost track of the.
Well, obviously this Lynchburg team has had several games that are decided by double figures, just 5 decided within 10 last. Different theme this year, and as advertised by Coach Nichols, this Hollins team is certainly different. A team that is trying to achieve some program history as Morales' shot is off the mark. Hufford through trouble for the second attempt. Parker ready to come away with it. This Hollins team has never had a winning season. They were at 500 last year. Can do done for the green and gold.
Yeah, they actually started 5-0 last season, and the first loss was to Lynchburg. Ended up winning 7 out of the first 8, but only 5 wins when the calendar flipped from 24 to 25. Last year for Hollins.
That shows how tough the ODAC is. How about the toughness and grit on display on the hardwood? Petty went down to the floor, and Hollins takes possession again. So Lynchburg just struggling to get a field goal attempt here in the extra period. 4 minutes to play. No foul trouble for Lynchburg, several with 3. Morales and Hufford with 4 for the green and gold as Morales goes to the left hand. Reversal around the court. Carter inside, beautiful movement, and Hufford just couldn't convert. Another tie up, and the Hornets finally take over.
Well, feels a little nervy here to begin the overtime period. That's probably to be expected. Again, you know it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing basketball. You just hope you can make a big play when you need to. So far, nobody really has in the bonus session.
We have hard territory and also some tired legs. Brooke Cason has played 38 minutes in this one as Spainhour commits another turnover. That's Lynchburg's 30th. Morales wrap around Kingery. Goes around the horn. Back outside. Pull up. Mid-range. Clips the iron. Offensive rebounds starting to hurt the Hornets. Second chance, no good. Spainhour finally gets it away.
Yeah, that was good to secure the bag right there. It was the free hand to kind of fend a defender off. Now, got to be careful. She almost did the same thing with the dribble. That's when the refs will really call it.
This Lynchburg team that returned 4 of its top 5 from last year is certainly capable of being in the big moments. But who's going to step up? No score yet in overtime. Petty, the spin, right in the paint. Just a touch too heavy, and Hufford has the rebound. We've seen that ball skitter out several times, as Lynchburg just hasn't had a clean look. Both teams disrupting on defense.
Looks like Lynchburg's gone back to their player-to-player defense. We'll see if they sink back into the 2-3 zone at some point.
Morales elbow jumper off the mark. It might be. Next score wins. Going hits rate.
It really might be. And maybe one overtime session's not enough.
Cason ready to connect right under the cup. Jacobisi somehow saved it by fingertips. Now Spainhour, separation created in the paint, has it taken away, and the Hollins defense all over it. Morales, clean alley, pass over the top to Russell and converts.
Oh, impressive there from Morales to really shred the defense up and then get in the air to pass. Don't forget, she's been playing with 4 for a long time now, Sarah Morales.
Both teams had been scoreless for 3 minutes as Spainhour is wrapped up, but called for costly for the Hornets. That'll be personal, and in the bonus.
And I think Hollins is doing a good job of understanding what Lynchburg get that bounce pass into Bree Spainhour. They're forcing her further and further out and then forcing some turnovers on those loose passes.
Spainhour was going to the floor, and it looked like her arm got in the mix. Carter to the stripe for two. Misses the front end. 63% shooter on the season. These are the seniors, the veterans that understand what it means to be in this position for Hollins. They have certainly seen the floor. They're trying one of the best spots in program history. Another offensive rebound with 70 seconds left. Morales gets to the middle of the floor. Hufford, offensive foul. Spainhour doing the dirty work with fouls. That is a clutch play on defense.
Yeah, really gutsy right here. First, Spainhour helps up on the pick and roll. Then she has to slide back to her player and gets the feet planted, sets it up perfectly. Great view right there.
And how close was she to the restricted area on that one? Tough to see from the high vantage point, but it looked like those feet were just outside.
Yeah, that's incredible tandem defense there. To stop the pick and roll first, then you got to slide back to the roller, who is Hufford. That should be 5 on Hufford, right? Shouldn't it be?
Is that perhaps the confirmation as the referee goes to the table?
Yeah, the scoreboard didn't show it. They've now put the correct number 20, Gracie Hufford, up there. I think Emily Dunton, the head coach for Hollins, knew that, but maybe the officials just wanted to make sure. But it will be 5, so Holden and Hufford out for Hollins.
Aaron Allen in this game now, and Taylor Brown adds extra size downstairs for Lynchburg. They're only down 2. 50 seconds left. Parker hassled on the far side, and Brown gets the pass off balance. Oh, it is getting physical on Turner as Spainhour was clipped again.
The Spainhour was working. Probably felt like that was a wrestling match. I don't fault the officials. You got to let people play, but yeah, go to ground there. It's a foul on somebody, and in this case, it was on Nolani Carter.
Spainhour came up walking a little gingerly. Obviously, you got to be careful in those rehabs, and especially the number of minutes that she's had. Now at 35 on the game. Makes the front end. There's still a difference on the scoreboard. 1-point lead, Hollins. Nolani Carter setting up shop. And the green and gold just want to spread things out. Timeout, Coach Dunton. We'll keep it right here. You know, Kyle, you think about going back and looking at the last overtime game for this Lynchburg team. The reason that this one feels so energetic and so tense is because you didn't see a lot of these games at home last year. It means something for the Hornets to try and go get a resume win for the conference here in Turner Gymnasium. They've been all so close, just haven't gotten to the finish line.
100% agree with you. 3-0 at home this year, but yes, this would feel more definitive. This would feel really, really good right here against a team that's kind of turned into a rival. Both these schools have a school in town that's closer. Hollins has got Roanoke, Lynchburg has Randolph, but this has the elements of a rivalry game, I think, and maybe it's the tie-in with both coaches. That could be part of it. I think just scrappy basketball as well. Neither team wants to give an inch. It'll be Hollins ball, 33.9 on the game clock, 16 on the clock.
Has a sense of a revenge game for this Hollins team that blew the lead in the fourth last year. They've done just enough right, and what has been a very scrappy game. Huge possession inside the final 30 seconds. Morales dishes the bounce pass to the far side. Kingery heckled. Now a far three that banks in. Was that checkmate? A frustrating break for a Lynchburg team that defended it well. We mentioned Morales had attempted just 6 at that point, and the next one falls.
Morales, worth pointing out again, she has been playing with 4 fouls since about midway through the fourth quarter. She was 7 for 41 from three-point last year. Did not have a made three-pointer coming into the game. Tonight she has 2, Evan, and massive in off the glass. Got to call that out on the blacktop when you're playing with your buddies, but in here it does not matter, and this is why you hang around, so you can get a break like that if you're Hollins. Now Lynchburg got to get really busy.
And that is why, you know, on the other side, you don't allow that game to be this close. And this point, Hollins has fought valiantly to even be in this position. First win against the 2011-2012 season. Resume wins last year against Roanoke. Trying to get a big one this season. Lynchburg going to need some help. It's Parker. Surveys around, not a lot of time. And a foul is called. They're going to call that on Carter away from the ball.
Yeah, she's jockeying with Bree Spainhour all night. This is a good break for Lynchburg, if we're being honest, because you could score without the clock moving. You can now sub a player like Natalie Poole in, who is going to come in and try to commit the quick foul when Bree Spainhour makes both. If you're a Lynchburg fan, you're banking on her making both.
That's right, and more subs to the table. Kayla Terry, first one rattles in, and you wonder how much time Lynchburg allows to bleed off this clock if Spainhour can knock home the second.
I think you go with the old try to steal the inbound, and then
a lot of speed, Terry and Poole.
You got some plays ready for this if you're Hollins.
Looking for the inbound. Will there be a trap in the corner? Carter, and she's fouled. Just 2 seconds go off. 9 remain on the game clock.
Yeah, not bad there from Lynchburg, because you did almost have a chance to steal that second pass coming out of the corner there. And here comes an opportunity for Hollins to salt this thing away by making both free throws. One would feel massive.
That is why they probably fouled Carter, who is 3 for 5 from the stripe today, right aligned with her percentage of 63% on the season. Can't make the first one.
Again, if you're Lynchburg, really have to focus on boxing out right here. You cannot allow Hollins to get an offensive rebound.
That has been the name of the game the entire way. Got it. Lynchburg likely looking for the 3. Kaysen into Spain. Hornets gonna have to wrap around the perimeter. South, gotta get the shot. Kaysen has a chance. Just missed. The green and gold.
Points was the biggest lead they had all night. It came in overtime. They end up holding on and winning by 3. You feel awful for Brooke Kaysen. She got a pretty good release there at the end. She would love to have that one back. It was from deep. She was a few steps behind the three-point line, but a look was there. In the end, it's Hollins' night on the road with a big win to move to 6-1.
The IQ for Bree Spainhour to hold that basketball and create separation. It was a smart start. Lynchburg comes up short. You can tell what it means for Hollins, a team that is recreating what this program is all about. Coach Dunton has to understand from where she started in her Hollins tenure. Now working in her 8th season, this is such a different ball club. They're competing at a pretty high level here in the ODAC Conference, and if this is an indication of what's to come, perhaps their first winning season on the way.
I would not bet against Hollins. They've got a squad that is hungry. They've got a squad that is ready. They've got players that can do different things. You got, what a gutsy effort by Sarah Morales. Again, she was out there with 4 fouls for most of the 4th quarter and overtime. She ends up hitting the big shot. It was a bank. If you're Lynchburg, you're saying, oh, she banked it in on us. Does not matter on the scoreboard, though. Full credit to Hollins. 45 rebounds. They out-rebounded Lynchburg by 1. Took care of the basketball a little bit better as well. 22 turnovers for Hollins. Lynchburg ended up with 32. That's a number that Coach Nichols is probably seeing on the stat sheet right now that she's just been handed. down at the scorer's table, and that one is not going to make her feel real good.
Kyle, I do want to hear your final thoughts, but I think when you look at the stat sheet, neither way of playing was sustainable for a win. But it's one of those grinded out games where you throw the stats away in the extra period. Hollins is going to feel really good about this fight. Lynchburg's going to have to take something extra to come back and regain their composure.
Yeah, I think I could see from Coach Nichols' demeanor at the end, she was staying positive. She came out when the shot missed and was clapping. Now, she's going to point out the bad things as well. She's going to mention, hey, we turned it over 32 times. That'll be said probably in maybe the first 1 or 2 sentences when she goes in the locker room. But she's a great coach. She's going to find some positives and some negatives. If you're a Lynchburg player, it should sting a little bit, right? Because if it doesn't sting, then you're probably doing the wrong thing. You don't care enough if this one doesn't sting if you're Lynchburg. But I don't think it's going to derail the Hornets. They're actually off until December 14th. You might have been getting ready to hit on the upcoming schedule, Evan. But Hollins got to turn around and go to Randolph-Macon on Saturday. A chance for more momentum, perhaps.
That's going to be a big game against one of the toughest teams in the conference. But obviously, Lynchburg will be in action, as you said, Sunday, December 14th at Mary Washington. Next time they're in the gym is December 16th against Regent. That's a 1 o'clock start time here on LHSN and Flow College. Well, Kyle, thanks for tuning in for the ride. What a fun one we have had, and a fun pair of matchups we've seen here at Turner Gymnasium in the last few times out for this Lynchburg women's basketball team. A big thanks to the entire LHSN crew for making it happen. And on behalf of my partner, Kyle Haney, I'm Evan Gates, and so long in the Hill City. Lynchburg falls by 3.